I've got short, I've got deep, they'll determine it in advance. That's the gray one, right? Where if you can take it, take it. If you can't, middle person still goes up. Oh, I'm hitting that gray area. Perfect. Let's get there. Shoulders level, head level. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Yep, you have to take that. Exactly right. Good job. Okay. The other thing that you should think about in the serve pass game, let's go 3 across. Distance, spacing, time. I would be willing to bet that most of your players, if you asked to pass 3 across, would line up there. Is that where you guys are comfortable? Right there? And if I was here, they would stay in those spots. And if I was here, they would stay in those spots. And that's not what we're going for, okay? We want distance in relation to, if somebody's gonna hit a serve on that sideline in the corner, congratulations, you can have that point, okay? That's a very tough one to hit. So what we do is we wanna help the people who have to protect shorter distances. So if I'm, actually stand up the service. So when the server's over on that half of the court, this is only 50 feet. That's like 60 something, not the thing. How is it? 68, thank you, okay? So the ball's gonna take a lot longer to get here, and it's also more difficult to put there. So our 6-zone passer is gonna help and slide you that way. I got you this way, come on over, right? And we're gonna give a little more space back here and make it harder. And if he moves over that way, exactly. So when they're cheating in their seams and stuff at the beginning, right, we want to create spatial, so you can just, it's a real easy, but I guess not always executed in younger ages. They just want to go to their spot, and they don't want to consider different angles. So just if you can teach your team to go and to help, we a lot of times are coaching passing from back here, and we're talking about shoulder angles and seeing the server's arm to try and get them to cheat as much as possible and get in good positions to make a play. What's funny is when you see whiff aces at higher levels, maybe like in the varsity or even in collegiate volleyball, somebody totally mishits a serve and it's an ace. But why does that happen so much? And it's because good defenders and good players were reading something to happen, and that's not what happened at all. So an ace luckily scores. So if you've got a server who's just horrific, they might get some good aces for you. Okay, and it's not skill. Okay? We'll take luck sometimes. Let's see, I just want to make sure I touch on a couple of different things here I have on my sheet. Space versus commitment to the seam. This is also a situation where if somebody likes it better to their left or their right, they might create some different spacing. Okay, we talked about that. And then I want to talk a little bit about 80-20, which is, if you come to a game this year, which I hope you do, you'll see us in the 80-20 model pretty much exclusively based on our personnel. So if you have 2 strong passers and 1 weak passer, we're going to try and get 2 people to take 80% of the court and 1 person to take 20. Okay, maybe call it 75-25, however, whatever you want to call it. We call it 80-20. So you two, let's say you're the 80 and you're the 20, okay? The seams do not change. That's the part that they have to still grasp. If you're our weakest passer, I still need you to play that ball, or we're going to be in trouble. But we're not going to ask you to play that ball and that ball and that ball anymore, because we're shrinking your space. Okay? And so the 80-20 can also switch based on the server angles. Okay, we can go, okay, now us two, say we're the 2 good passers, we're going to go 80-20. Okay? Or you're still the weaker passer, so you guys are going to stay 80, and instead of all the way, because the server's over here, she only has to go part of the way. So although it looks like you're covering more than 20, you're not. Okay, and so again, this is very simple. I know this stuff isn't blowing your mind with awesomeness, but if you can get your team to understand those concepts and work with the personnel you have, the hardest thing in 80-20 is if your 20's in the middle. That's hard. Okay, so you might be able to take her out, and this is what's on the back of the sheet, 80, and pull a different outside hitter to take you to 20. And even if she's slightly worse of a passer than her, okay, you're still staying in the 80-20 model versus people trying to pinch off somebody and have them just play this ball. Okay, so on the back of your sheets, we'll go through this at the end, on the back of your sheets is those principles laid out in some different lineup formations that might be able to help you. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. Okay, but there's different ways you can adjust your serve receive to try and help your team be better as a unit versus just individual passers. Okay. The other thing is you probably have to be really honest with your team for this to work. Okay, it's probably not going to go great if you say, okay, you're way better than her, so just steal balls from her. Cheat. Right? So one of the things you could do is maybe if you don't keep stats, you can make them up. Okay, and you can go, listen, you're passing a 2-4, 2-3, 2-2. We want you guys passing as much as the court possible. We're going to adopt this 80-20 principle. She could be way worse than that. Okay, but she doesn't need to know that. Okay, but if you can have those open and honest communications with your passers, they get better as a unit. Okay, and so our person who's passing our 20 is very aware of why she's only passing 20 in a very nice way. Okay, because she scores a lot of our points, a ton of them, 5 a game. So we just want her to take a sliver, and these two players that are a libero and a DS are going to pass a million more balls than her in practice and in games for us. Okay, so just the serve pass game, just some ways to try and help with that. Let's flip gears and go to serving, and then I'll go back to rotations at the end. I'll grab a couple of people and just have some people stand around so we can talk about some different patterns. Let's flip gears and go serving. Can we grab the volleyballs? Send them on over, thank you. You guys can come back here and serve. What are we teaching for serving? So, in virtually every skill, we are trying to teach as little movement as possible. Okay? In everything that we do. So in passing, we're 1, 2, 3 here. I want them to stay their heads level. They're shuffling their level, setting. Just very, very simple movements to not create extra stuff. You see setters do this sometimes. It drives me bonkers. Don't teach them that. Okay? From here to here. Okay, passing, same thing, efficient movements. Okay, serving. So what I'm going to ask these guys to do, efficiency and serving. If you watch national team players, the women serve their jump floaters, everything is being based off of this position, and it's to create efficient movements. So you're leaving out the two-handed toss and getting to here. You're leaving out steps, okay? You're putting your weight mostly on your back leg, because you're going to hold the ball in your left hand. Okay? Small step and swing. Okay? Small step and swing. Good. Good. So we're just going, go ahead, you can hit a couple. As efficient as possible. Now, as we're good, you guys can keep going, and you guys can watch that, and you can look at me. As they're taking this efficiency here, if they start dropping their arms and stuff, it's too much. Okay, so what you're looking for here is this simple motion to happen. Now, these guys are all naturally pretty decent at rotating their hips and shoulders. Right, so when you go to throw a baseball, you go to throw a football, whatever it is you're throwing, you get to this position, right? And then from here, you rotate your hips and your shoulders through. The serve should be no different. We're just going for mass efficiency. Rotate hips and shoulders and come through. Their left arm, we'd like to stay pretty close to their body. We'd like their left arm to stay pretty close. Opposite, obviously. Okay? From here, through the ball. These guys all have a pretty good, simple serve. Here we've got a little bit of up and down, okay? Just try and keep your head level, go through it. Good, good. See how that floated up? If you're talking to your players about hands, wrists, you know, I would encourage, for the sake of, if you're trying to get a float, not to break the wrist. So do this motion, swing through, and my hand is staying open for the entire time. And at the end, it falls over, something like that, that's fine. You're trying to get as much float on the ball as possible. Obviously, if you're coaching somebody with a top spin, the wrist is going to break, that's fine, but the motion is still the same. Whether you're attacking, okay, or serving, we're just creating hips and shoulders. And you see some people, when they swing, they end here, that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. You can drop your wrist, you can hit across your body, but for maximum power, if you're teaching somebody how to hit it the hardest, hips and shoulders rotate, we come across our body, okay? Now, if you wanted to work into a jump float, the arm position doesn't change, okay? This is where some people's feet might be a little different, that's okay. Again, the simplest and most efficient, left, right, left, through. Okay, so you guys can throw in a couple jump floaters. Same position, left, right, left, through. Good. Oh my God. Doing a little. So go again, I won't say what I'm going to tell you. Go do the same serve you did. It was really close to good. Good, okay. I would say that she is too flat, coming in, and has to open back up and try to get through. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to get your right hip back a little bit, come through it, so you can create a little bit easier power. Open up. Good, good. And the first couple of times you'll do that, you might feel unnatural with where the ball goes on your toss. That's fine, because now it's coming from a slightly different angle. Okay? Go ahead. Whip off a couple more. A little extra movement here, but you're used to hitting the top spin ball. Yeah, and that's okay. I can just tell by her doing it that she's wanting to do a top spin ball. If you have some jumps, you want to do a jump spin? Jump serve? Rip it off. Fire away. You got this. I believe in you. Now throw this part out the window. Now we do a jump spin. Okay? So if you have a player who's got a jump serve, the most efficient way to do it, again, slow to fast, right, left, right, left. Okay? Just a nice, smooth, slow to fast. So you're going to go opposite. You're going to go left, right, left, right. That's all right. She's there. I'm putting you on the spot. There's 100 people watching. Good. Yes, good. Okay, so that might have, we're running that tonight too. Okay, so again, efficiency in movement is the key to everything that we're doing. We're just trying to be as efficient as possible. Serving, attacking, however, or passing, however our movement is efficient as possible. I recommend, if you have people with a lot of extra movements, creating a warm-up so that they're doing it, they're trying to emulate little movement. You know, this. Okay, so take the ball away. Then add the ball. And when they start doing this, no, that's not what you just did. Okay, so just trying to create as efficient movements as possible. From the service line, your service strategy, again, that's going to vary from team to team in an effort to help you win. I would recommend having servers from multiple spots along the end line. Okay, if you can have 2 servers from over there, 2 from here, and 2 from there, and they're not in a specific order, you're keeping the other team's balance off from how they receive serve. I don't recommend, unless you're really bad at serving, and that might be an issue, then you need to aim in the middle because they're going to miss way wide. Okay, then maybe you have to do that. But if you can have servers in different spots, if you can have some standing floaters and some jump floaters, I might let at the beginning of the season or in tryouts, 4 kids start working on a jump float, and then maybe the 2 of them that are the best at it, you know, they jump float during the games, and then you've got some different things to throw passers off balance. And then if you were at the last one, when we talked about the error game, it's just how many points do you want to give away during, from the service line? Are you a team that just serves in? Do you serve for zones? Do you have multiple players on your high school team that play club? Okay, well then they probably have a lot more experience and they can serve it a little bit harder,